Hi, I am Dave Amato. You are watching 5 Minutes to College. Thank you so much for joining us. Brought to you by Next Step U, your college, career, and life planning company. I have a great guest here back today, Marty Bunadek. Thanks for coming back.
Thank you.
She was on a previous show. We're going to change the subject today. We're going to talk about resumes. Now, Marty, when you think of a resume, I don't think of a high school student. I think of someone who's graduated college, an adult that's applying for a job, and they have to put their resume together. But you're saying, wow, it's a great idea for a high school student to have a resume. Tell me more.
All right, absolutely. Well, students actually have quite a bit to contribute to a high school resume. And the importance of having this put together, especially early on, is that you are going to get to a point where you're going to have to ask teachers for a letter of recommendation. You're going to have to fill out these applications for colleges, and they're going to ask you this stuff. Not many teachers are going to feel comfortable writing a letter of recommendation about you if they don't have a good idea of all the things that you have been involved in over the years. So it certainly gives teachers something to add when they do write about you. But most certainly, it is going to be a part of your college application. Colleges want students who do more than just go to school and come home. They want to know what other things are you involved in, what are your interests, and they can tell a lot about you as a person based on those things that you've gotten involved in over the years.
So it's a great way to put it in a nice, concise format.
Yeah.
I have heard that college admissions people would rather have less than more, because they don't want a student who's just doing 20 activities to say, like, look how many things I did. They'd rather see like some depth in the resume of like 2, maybe 3 activities.
Right.
And then taking leadership, or maybe actually founding a club or something like that.
Absolutely.
So it's a great way to kind of showcase that in your resume.
Right. You don't want to have a laundry list where you've done an hour here and an hour there, but rather, finding what you're passionate about, and maybe that's where you do your volunteer work. That's where you've taken on some leadership roles. For example, if you got a love of animals and you would like to get into that someday, maybe you focus on volunteer work that's related with animals, projects that you've taken on during that internship or volunteer work.
Yeah.
And it just gives those people reading your application a little bit more of an idea of how passionate are you about this particular program.
So send it in with the application.
You can send it with it, or you might find just having that resume already built up is going to be a huge time saver when it comes time to fill out that application, because they'll ask you very specifically, what types of things have you done over the years?
Great. So
you could just refer to it. But it's easier if you can kind of keep it ongoing, because it's very tough senior year when you've got the pressure of college visits and college applications to rack your brain and think, what did I do freshman year?
Yeah.
So if you can keep it ongoing, but when you do your activity resume, you want to keep in mind all those different areas that you can actually write about, whether it's art awards you've won, or music awards, or competitions that you've been in.
So it could be sports, clubs, part-time jobs,
absolutely,
things like that.
Yeah.
Now, when I was brought up, I was said, keep your resume to 1 page. Is that still true? Can it be a little bit longer, or what do you think?
If you have been that involved that you could go on a little bit, that's fine. But certainly, it's probably nice to keep it short and sweet.
Right. So, picture I'm a 16-year-old kid, and like, oh my God, I just watched the show and I got to write a resume. I have no idea on how to even spell resume. Where do I get started on like just the basics of how to write a resume? Just some of the logistics of what goes where, what goes first. Any ideas on that to help them out?
Well, certainly any website on just resume writing, but very often high schools have areas in their college and career centers they provide that information that shows you the different topics that people look for, and then just kind of let you fill it in the computer programs. Where have you gotten that experience, and how long have you been doing something?
Excellent, excellent. Well, I love that idea, and I really haven't heard it too much, and that's why I love it, because if you do have a resume, I think you'll stand out from the crowd. I think it's something that will separate you from the average when you're applying to college, makes you look very professional, and it's a great way to showcase all the different activities that you've done instead of just your grades. So, excellent.
Yeah, and one other thing to keep in mind is that if you are a sophomore or junior and you realize I don't have anything to write about,
Yeah.
then that should be a little
Spark.
belly in your fire
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get you to start committing to volunteer work or
Right.
some other extracurricular
I bet
activities.
but make sure, ideally, you make sure it's something you're passionate about.
Absolutely.
And that you're just not filling up your resume with stuff,
Absolutely, yes.
with filler, so excellent.
Very
Thank you,
good.
Marty.
Yeah, thank
Really
you.
appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching 5 Minutes to College from Next Step U. Hope to see you next week. Have a great day.